Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles. Welcome to my channel, and you can hear the rooster as always in the background. Anyway, today I want to show you a blouse I've been talking about for months. I actually cut out this project months ago, maybe in July, but as you know, I've been making pants, you know the story. So I want to show you the Dove blouse by Nielsen. I want to do a pattern review and show you the version I've made. This pattern is classed as a 2 out of 5 in the difficulty level. It's meant for wovens, lightweight wovens. It can be a variety of fabrics, linen, chambray, silks, rayons, you know, you name it, that's sort of lightweight-ish in woven. It's got a V neckline. It says there on the description that it has French darts here, but they're actually just bust darts. From the definition I know of French darts, they usually start much lower, almost hitting your waist height and then slanting up to the bust. But it says there that they're French darts and they're sort of slanted side bust darts in my opinion. It's described also as a loose fit, and you can see that in the pictures of the models I'm popping in here. You can see it's quite loose. You can see the dramatic curved hem at the back as well, and that is finished with facing for the hem, and you know that's appropriate because you can't really hem properly a huge curve like that if you're not doing some sort of facing there. It comes with 3 views, and it's all got to do with the sleeves. I mean, you know I don't do sleeves, but I am going to mention it here that view 1 has just like a typical straight normal sleeve up to the elbow. View 2 has like bell sleeves, and view 3 has flared sleeves. So if I were to ever make the sleeve on this one, I would make view 1 because that's just the most simple. I'm not about all the fluff and volume on the sleeves. I like it on other people, I don't like it on myself. About the sizing, this one comes in sizes that are not by numbers, but actually by letters, the way you would buy clothes in a shop. So extra small to extra large. Now for my body measurements, I'm going to put a chart here. My bust is a large, and then my waist and hips is an extra large, but considering the way they describe the pattern as loose fitting, I went over to see the finished garment measurements and noted that at the bust there is a 6 centimeter ease on the large, and if that's proportioned to the waist and the hips, I think I'll be fine just making the size L. Now when I see the product pictures, it does look quite big, and I'm not about using things that are too big like that, so I decided to just go with the large and just make a straight size L instead of grading up to an extra large at the waist and hips. I'm going to now show you a little process video where I show you how I lowered the bust dart, what I did to the hem, how I sewed my seams. I've used French darts. I'll show you the neckline, all the things, and the fit. So that's coming in now, and then I'll be back. As always, I'm going to start by lowering that bust dart. You can see on the black lines, the tip of that dart is way higher than my apex. That's what I'm pointing at there with that little dot. And I've drawn a partial bust circle just an inch away from my apex so that my new dart doesn't go that further in. So I'm keeping the same depth of the dart. I'm just redirecting it to my apex, which is about an inch lower usually for most patterns. I usually cut out the dart so it's easier to mark it on fabric afterwards. You can see I've kept it the same depth and just directed it over there. I want to show you the fit of the Dove blouse so far. I think the V hits at a good place. I have done some stay stitching there. This fabric does tend to want to move around. I have all the seam allowances just pinned at 5/8 of an inch. The modifications I made to the dart that you've already seen are spot on. I think it's hitting right where it should, so that's good. I did have to shorten it. I think the pins were a bit further here, too close to my comfort, so I made the dart shorter by maybe a centimeter. The side seams, everything, the ease I like the curve on the front, but I think the curve on the back is too pronounced. So I might be trimming that down an inch maybe and just tapering out so it's longer than the front, but not that longer than the front. yeah, so I'm excited about this one. I'm gonna be doing French seams and bias binding on the arms and bias binding for the hem because it's curved, and for the neckline I'll be doing a facing. Now we're going to go on to some French seams. This fabric is special for that. Now you can see there I've got wrong sides together, and I'm helping myself with my 1/4 inch foot there to keep a really straight stitch. After I've sewn that 1/4 inch, you can see there, I'm flipping it around, and now I'm putting right sides together, but I've already enclosed that top bit there. I'm folding it there, and the nature of this fabric makes this a bit fiddly, very slippery to work with, so even the pinning took a while. Now with silk, I'm always careful to pin very like over the seam allowance, like within the seam allowance, I mean, so that I don't get any marks on the fabric that you're going to see. Now I've moved my needle to the left. I'm still using my 1/4 inch foot, but it has a little hole, and now it's actually sewing at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So if you do basic maths, 3/8 and a 1/4 of an inch is actually 5/8 of an inch. So that makes your seam allowance correct. So there's a 1/4 inch tucked in there, and then 3/8 there, and you can see that all the raw edges are nicely enclosed, nice and neat, and it's a delicate finish. So it was a very simple make, a slightly more challenging because of my fabric choice. This is a very flowy, as you can see, printed silk that I've had for a long time. Here you can see the V. Someone commented when I was talking about my plans, I believe it was Kathleen, that she'd made it and she found the V too low. When I read that, I had already cut it out, so I was just hoping for the best. And actually the V is fine. I mean, I'm not showing anything. There's nothing on show. It's deep enough, but it's high enough, if you know what I mean. This is finished with a facing, and now because of the nature of this fabric, I really didn't want to put interfacing on it, so I've just made the facing understitched, and it's just hanging in there. It's just very light neckline finish, but it's still fine. There's no gaping, there's nothing weird going on with that. But in hindsight, I should have sourced a really lightweight interfacing. I didn't have one at the time. I just had that more like sturdy one that I used for my son's collars for his shirts, and that was way too heavy and too like substantial to fuse onto this thing. It was not appropriate. So just keep it in mind, I would interface that. Now the original view has you sewing down that as like a decorative thing. I wouldn't do that on this type of fabric. I think on chambray or linen that would look very nice, but not for this. Sleeveless, of course, you know, sleeves are not my jam. I didn't need to modify anything on the arm side to make it sleeveless, because there's other blouses that are meant to have sleeves that are like way too low, and it wouldn't look nice if I just left it. So I usually have to shave off a little bit here and then sort of taper in around my arm side, but I didn't need to do that with this one. You saw that I did shorten the back hem considerably. It was just way too long. It is longer than the front by yeah, I would say it's longer by like an inch maybe, and that's what I wanted. Yeah, you can see it, the difference there. Now I wouldn't do a hem facing with this type of fabric either. It's just way too light to do that. So I just used bias tape. I had a remnant of this green bias tape from Bolivia. I think I had like 3 meters in a little bag that I brought, and I was so happy because it was the only color that matched really nicely this blouse. Okay, so I have it on here. I've just got some denim shorts, you know. The fit is very good with the L. It fits. There's enough room around everywhere that I can move around. I think it doesn't have that very loose fit that it was intended, but I prefer this. You know, ease is always a personal preference. You can see the V is fine, you know, there's nothing on show, nothing, no gape, anything. The sleeveless arm size is perfect, right where it has to be, very closed, nothing. And I like that curve there. The front is a bit shorter and then it goes off curling like that. Now I didn't need to do any fisheye darts with this. Usually I do. This one doesn't need it. I don't think there's any like weird extra fabric back there or anything. So yeah, I'll be making this load. You can't really see the bust dart. It stops there and then it finishes there. So this is not a French dart in my opinion. So yeah, I recommend this pattern. Very simple to make. The fit is very nice. The V is very nice. I love V necklines. I should make them more. I think it's a good style for me. And the next video you're gonna see is also using this pattern, but I've taken it up a notch. I'm just gonna leave it at there. I've taken it up a notch and I've done a hack to it and I love the way it turned out. So keep your eyes peeled for my next video coming soon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share and hit the bell so you don't miss when I upload and you don't miss all my tips and tricks and reviews. That's all for now. Happy sewing. Bye.